Now, let's take this discussion further as we are being joined by Dr. Gbenga Olawepo Hashim. He's a politician and former presidential aspirant. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
On Newsnight.
To be here.
Yeah, and thank you too for having to sit through that and listen to our correspondent Ferdinand Roha give us an update of developments there in Sokoto State. First, of course, thank you very much for joining us. Your thoughts on the U.S. strikes on Christmas Day, bearing in mind that the Nigerian authorities did say they supplied the intel that the U.S. used in carrying out this operation on Christmas Day.
I think every reasonable Nigerian is pleased with the intervention ordered by President Trump.
Right.
Degrading the capacity of the ICE-backed terrorist group around that area. And it signals the concern that the international community is having about the deteriorating security situation in Nigeria and the lack of willingness and capacity on ground to deal with the issues. Since 2021, I've been making recommendations on the need to seek international assistance, because the enemy you are dealing with is transnational. They have collaboration with all kinds of terrorist groups globally in terms of tactics, in terms of training, in terms of supply of weaponry. And particularly those of them who are even more in the hinterland, controlling mines. They have a lot of access to resources. They are doing lithium business, they are doing gold business. Right. When you come down to Kebbi, Niger, and all that. So you need a lot of international cooperation to handle this. You also need to rejig the security architecture. You need community policing. Now, apart from forest guards, okay, the forest guards are welcome. You need community policing. And then you also need some other layers of security actions that we're not going to be too detailed on.
Right.
Because we are
understandably
on here,
so. Right.
But some of these things are just beyond just strikes. Strikes may degrade, but just like Ferdinand was saying, you needed some presence. If you made some arrests of the fleeing ones, you'll have also better information.
Yes.
That technology cannot, it's not all information that technology will give you. You need interrogation, you need all kind of things, and if you don't make arrests, and that's what the boots on the ground personnel should be doing, and not just allowing them to run away and run around.
Are you concerned that we're not hearing any of that, terrorists, fleeing terrorists are being apprehended or being picked up?
Well, Ferdinand is there alive, and you've asked concrete questions, and he has provided the answers. So we need more seriousness on the Nigerian side. And you also need a framework agreement for this operation. So,
in what way
you are dealing with
what should this?
This should be negotiated by Nigeria. And it should be a negotiated agreement between two sovereign states. Nigeria is still an independent country; it's not a colony of any country. We love the fact that we're receiving help, but you must have very clearly defined framework agreements that will not allow for abuse of the opportunity. And this is very important. As a sovereign state, you need to have a cooperative agreement with anybody helping you.
Right. What should this agreement look like? What should be just give an idea. In this case, an agreement between Nigeria and the United States
that should be properly
defining
the framework of the support, trainings, logistics, the reports reporting mechanism, coordination, etc., etc.
Should there also
and then even the scope of the intervention and the time frame of this intervention is not going to be forever. You know, and as you develop your own capacity internally, you evaluate, you review, you know, the scope of intervention that can be unilateral from outside. So the agreement is going to contain all this. This is what I've been advocating for since 2021, and we keep saying this. But now I think a lot of our international partners are losing, you know, patience on this, you know, and that's why you see the U.S. And I really appreciate what President Trump has done. Maybe he's going to put some seriousness locally. But most of all these things are also political. We also need initiative. Why do we have...
When you say political, in what sense?
There is so much poverty in Northwest and Northeast Nigeria.
You could say the same for every part of Nigeria.
18 million, but more in Northwest and Northeast. There are 18 million out-of-school kids in Nigeria right now. And 73% of them are from Northwest and Northeast. They have no skill to participate in modern life. And so for them, Boko is really Aram. You know, Boko? Without Boko, that means the market where you go to learn, work, and all that. And the only thing some of them can do is just to go and sell water and fetch water from, you know, maybe well and sell it around. That's the only skill they can have. Even as Merua, even borehole in such community becomes an enemy because you are spoiling the business of the Merua. So any modernist infrastructure for somebody who has no skill to participate in modern life is actually competing with his livelihood.
It's interesting the dimension that you bring to it.
So you have an economic dimension, and it also underscores the failure of governance. And you see the most of these states in the past 25 years have been governed by APC-related parties, whether the precursor
when
of
you say APC-related, I mean, PDP,
like if you say, for instance,
PDP had 16 years, which you belong to.
No. Yeah, if you look at Sokoto in 1999 was governed by APP. Yobe was governed by APP. Majority of these states where you had this high level of poverty have been as a result of misgovernance. You understand? That's one level. Two, you also have to understand that in the past 10 years, Nigeria has lost over 40% of its GDP. In 2014, when the President Jonathan administration was leaving, Nigeria's GDP was $574 billion. The biggest GDP. Today, Nigeria's GDP is less than 300 billion US dollars. Okay? 10% contraction in economic history is what you call depression.
Right.
When it is 40%, it has no corollary, no comparison. So Nigeria,
but this government is being praised. I mean, bringing it to present day, is being praised for stabilizing the economy and, you know, taking the right steps, laying the right foundation.
When you have shaped, when you have gone to the rock bottom, you are talking about what are you stabilizing? If you have lost 40% of your GDP, you are stabilizing poverty. You have to get back to where you were 10 years ago before you start talking about having growth, not to talk about stabilization. We are a long distance from stability. What you have seen is horrendous in the past 10 years.
Now,
and so you have huge poverty
Right.
And so everything is not just military
Kinetic
strikes
approach
and what have you.
But there are calls now, if I may come in very quickly, because we have to wrap this up very soon. There are calls for this U.S. operations to be, expanded to other parts of the country. Some are saying go to the northeast. It's time for you to move to the north central. As a matter of fact, we're hearing that the fleeing terrorists are moving in the direction of Benue State, north central Nigeria, that has also been the epicenter of terrorism activities. Do you?
Yeah, that's why you need a comprehensive strategy.
Of an expanded, operation.
Yeah, you need a comprehensive strategy for that, and that's why you need a defense cooperative agreement that defines the scope.
Right.
All right. Everything has to be defined. Everything has to be appraised, and there must be a review mechanism from time to time for such collaboration. That's what it is. You must have a broad look at it. You understand? Okay,
I'm being wrapped up now, but I mean, you're a PDP member. You've seen the issues within the PDP lately, back and forth. We're hearing that there are factions or groups. INEC has said, no, we're not recognizing any because they're, until the court rules on the issues. First, your thoughts on what's happening within the PDP.
Well,
and is there any way forward at all?
Yeah, there's a way forward. All right. The setback was caused by the fact that the protagonists on the two sides are working for the same purpose.
Which two sides now? The wicked
side. Well, I think Wike is even more honest. Okay. You know where he stands. Now the other gentleman, I think it's just like they are pulling the cow to the same allergy. And the quarrel is who is going to hold the rope. I think this is the issue. Now, but for the party and for those who love PDP and love democracy, because if you really love democracy, we cannot be a one-party state to be called a democracy. The major opposition is still the PDP. If PDP dies, there is a huge threat on the continuation of democracy in Nigeria. Now, the crisis affects the National Working Committee.
Right.
Now, if you look at Section 31(2) and Section 31(4) of the party constitution, you need 2/3 of NEC members to call a NEC meeting. Forget about all these conventions that they have had that are being hamstrung by various court orders. The NEC of the party can still convene because 2/3 of the members still exist with their legitimate mandate. And they can put in a caretaker committee and disregard the two factions and call a convention. It's as simple as that. The question is, do they have the willingness to do that? Because if they really want the solution, that is the solution. And
have you provided this solution to your party?
Yeah, I spoke to some of the governors. And that's why I said we have a problem here. Some of the governors I was speaking with who said, oh, this is a brilliant idea, are now in APC. They left the party.
I almost said Lubaton, but we'll have to leave
They left the party.
Okay. And you said there's still a way forward, but we'll have to leave it
there. Yeah, there's a way forward.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, Dr. Gbenga Olawepo Hashim is a politician, of course, a member of the PDP and former presidential aspirant, joining us. And Merry Christmas again.
Same to you.